In an economy that's grinding its way downward, there is a greater likelihood that consumers will have problems with their credit. The reasons are universally common. A person carries too much debt and paychecks are stretched too thin, as the dollar doesn't go as far as it did in prior years. Such conditions may force a person to make choices over what bills to pay and when to pay them, which in turn negatively impacts that person's credit score. The result is having to pay more in interest should new lines of credit be opened, and limits as to what sort of credit can be obtained. If a consumer needs to purchase a car in the midst of this sort of financial turmoil, the result is car financing that will be more expensive in both interest and lending fees. Bad credit car loans in Colorado Springs, for instance, will run as much as 10 points over prime, with an average prime lending rate of 3.6%. This could cost a Colorado Springs resident hundreds of dollars over and above the cost someone with perfect credit would pay. Potential car buyers in the Colorado Springs Pikes Peak area usually enjoy lower annual percentage rates on most loans than most other U.S. cities, but bad credit can nullify the advantages of living in an economically healthy place. Car loans in Colorado Springs are offered by all locally and nationally known banks and credit unions, as well as some other auto dealerships. There is also a large population of auto loan companies that operate in the Springs that specialize in bad credit car loans. For these companies, bad credit car loans are made on the basis of credit score and credit history to determine precisely how bad a consumer's credit is. But in order to make a financing deal that is not only comfortable for the lender, but a deal that the borrower can afford, the lender will look at some additional criteria that can work to lower the borrower's interest rates. Income is crucial to a consumer's ability to gain any sort of credit or financing. No lender will offer car loans to anyone who can't show proof of income, whether through pay stubs or tax forms, since a lender can only confidently lend money to someone that can pay it back. Income is also viewed by lenders in comparison to monthly debts paid by the borrower. In the case of bad credit car loans, the interest rate can get lowered when the lender sees that the borrower brings in a good regular income with a sizable amount of disposable income after all monthly bills are paid. A history of meeting all expenses on time is another quality lenders look for in borrowers before approving bad credit car loans. Where a borrower's annual credit report indicates that he or she pays nearly all of his or her debts on time and in full, the lender will view that person as less of a credit risk and lead to better interest rates closer to what someone in the non-prime lending category would pay. Discounts based on a positive history of bill paying vary from lender to lender, but in the Colorado Springs area, lending criteria tends to be pretty stable due to the level of competition in the city. The length of time a consumer has been active in the credit world also has a negative effect on that person's credit score. Since credit scores use a time-based system of analysis to determine its value, a potential borrower who doesn't have many years of credit use will not be able to grow a good credit score. If a lender takes this into account and compares the length of time a customer has been using credit versus their income and debt repayment history, it can make the determination as to how good a risk that person is for a bad credit car loan. If a potential borrower has a history of being reliable, he or she can trim the costs associated with bad credit car loans depending on the lender he or she goes to. There are many alternatives when it comes to finding bad credit car loans in Colorado Springs. Given the number of lenders in the city as well as in the Pikes Peak region, finding competitive rates are not that difficult for an individual suffering from bad credit. If a consumer needs to replace a vehicle right away, he or she may have no choice as to whether he or she can shop for bad credit car loans. But if it doesn't mean having to settle for the first car loan offer that comes along with the worst interest rates or lending costs, as with cars, car loan bargains can be found even for someone with bad credit, if that someone is willing to do some bargain hunting. Federal Auto Loan. Good credit, bad credit, no credit, all good.